I have a story that's really not my miracle. It's my mom's miracle. Um, I'll have to go back several years and tell you some background before I can get to the point. Um, Back in the early 80s, after Brett and I had our first child, in between our first child and our second child, which we're so thankful God blessed us with, we had a pregnancy that ended in a miscarriage at about 3 or 4 months. And I remember, of course, being devastated. And my mom came to be with me at home when this was happening. And for those of you who know my mom, know that she loved babies. And when I lost my baby, she loved on my baby and cared for my baby for a short time. And just having her there with me, and I knew that baby, even though it didn't get to breathe here on this earth, I always knew that the baby was in heaven. And I never understood why God let that happen. But I always trusted him through it all. But the main part was, though, just my mom being there, taking care of me, taking care of the situation, and just loving the baby. So anyway, now I'll fast forward to my story. I call it my mom's miracle. She got a glimpse into heaven that she shared with me. So I got to have some benefit of her miracle. But 30 years later or so, she was in the hospital, and she'd pretty much decided that she was going to quit doing all the machines and stuff to keep her alive, and she was just going to go. But knowing my mom through the years, she had some, she loved the Lord and she served the Lord. In her later years, she grew really close to God and grew spiritually amazingly. But yet I always figured she would have a struggle with death, as I think all of us have some part of struggle with that. But I was worried that she wasn't going to go peacefully. But God gave her such a peace in her last days, and such an assurance of her salvation, and that she was going to heaven. And so we got to spend a lot of time with her in the hospital for a few weeks as she was lingering on. And she did lots of sleeping, in and out of sleep, and several times she would go to sleep. She'd wake up with whichever, me or one of my sisters, someone was sitting with her. We always had someone sitting with her. And she would wake up and she would say, "Oh, I'm still here." Like she was looking forward to going to the other side. She was so ready. But oftentimes when she'd wake up, she would come back and she would tell us who she had seen in heaven. So God was giving her a glimpse of what she had to look forward to and what she was going to get to see on the other side. And so I think that's why when she woke up, she was rather disappointed that she was still in the hospital. And one time I was sitting with her and she was sleeping, and she woke up and she said, "Dawn, I saw your baby." And I, at first, of course, that wasn't on my mind at the time, so I wasn't quite sure what she was talking about. But she said, "I saw your little boy running around in heaven, and he's a blonde little boy running around in overalls." That was her description to me. And that was such a precious moment to me, because it helped me. First of all, I got to see my mom pass to the other side in such peace and such assurance. And to this day, I pray that I can do that as well, that I am so close to God that I will have that assurance and peace as well. But I'm so thankful how God showed his love for me too in that moment. He showed his love for my mom, but he showed his love to me too by giving me that little glimpse of what my mom was seeing. And although I never doubted that my baby was in heaven, just to have a little confirmation from my mom was just a treasure to me. And I will carry that with me always as mainly just how much God loves me. He loves me so much, and I'm so undeserving of his love, but his love for me is indescribable and amazing. So that's my story. I guess it's, I don't know if it's a dream, a vision, what my mom was having at that time, but it was definitely a blessing. And I like to call it a glimpse. She was getting glimpses into heaven, and she was sharing with us. So we too, my sisters and I and the rest of the family, our strength, our faith grew during that time as well. So I'm just thankful to God for everything he does for us.